2, 3.
This is a step-by-step tutorial on how to set up the LanExpert 85 in independent mode for dual port loopback testing. This will be a continuation of the single mode setup. As you can see, we already have port 2 linked to our active device through our first set of fibers. I'll be connecting the second set of fibers for our dual port testing. Once they're connected, let's turn on the power and do our step-by-step setup. As you can see, we are already in port 5 or profile 5. We would like to change that, so let's select setup and go to profile 6. Let's go again to our ports configuration. Let's change our port configuration from single to independent mode. We will like to have port 1 linked as auto MDIX with a speed as auto 10, 100, and 1000. Select the down arrow twice to get back into our IP addresses. We would like to use fixed IP address again. We would like to use IP address of 192.168.1.200. Select enter. For the subnet mask, we will use 255, 255, and 255.0. Select enter to save. For our gateway, we will be using 192.168.1.1. Port 1 IP addresses are configured. Let's select the down arrow. Port 2 is going to be linked at auto MDIX, just like port 1. Port 2's speed will be the same as port 1 as well. It will have auto 10, 100, 1000. Select the down arrow twice to get to port 2's IP address. We're going to use a fixed IP as well. We're going to use 192.168.1.201. Select enter. Subnet mask will be the same, 255, 255, 255.0. Press enter. Last, we'll have the gateway address as 192.168.1.1. Select enter. We are now done with our ports configuration. Let's select the right arrow twice to our traffic generate. To make sure we're having our test duration for 1 minute, our size is still 512 bytes with a 100% link rate. We are now ready for testing. Select the X button to get back to the home screen and select the loopback test button. As you can see, we have both ports connected at 1000. To toggle between port 1 and port 2, we select the port 1 button. Now we can change it from both sides. Change it back to port 1 and let's start our port 1 test. As you can see, it starts sending out transmitted and received frames with no % loss. Select port 2 and do the same thing. We want to start. So now it's in dual port loopback testing mode with an active loopback test. Going back to port 1, we have about 50% remaining. I will let this run for the next 20 seconds to show the remaining loopback test. We are on port 2 now, and we have about 40% of the test remaining. Now the test is done. We can see that port 2 has no lost frames. We select port 2 again to go to port 1, and as well we have no lost frames. Select the X button to go back to our home screen. Now you can unplug and plug different fiber cables in if you want different tests. That is the end of our dual port loopback testing mode.